Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. I started a little early today because I wish to cover the remaining 25 minutes of the lecture. I hope you don't mind. Let's continue.
Somehow or another, by grace of God, but somehow or another, determination, even in the midst of those challenges. This description of Ananta Shanti, with his chanting, with his in shackles, in jail, and for years imprisoned, but he was unstoppable. Anyways, one young Russian fellow helped spread Krishna consciousness throughout Russia. And a little bit of martyrdom, like in the case of other great personalities that were dealt with harshly, including Gandhi and others. Nelson Mandela dealt with harshly, but their determination, their fixed consciousness was strength for them and strength for others. Determination has its place. Sometimes it's a little challenging. It is especially easy to lose hope when things don't go well. It seems that little progress is being made. This whole topic that has been through the mill several times. How was it phrased? I'm looking over there at Hemangi. Still chanting, still reading, not much progress, something like that. Yeah. Somehow she and her husband were called upon to speak on this topic. I don't know why. But I can say, as an itinerant sannyasi, not necessarily in classes when it's in the public, but in private discussions, it's a theme. For some number of years, and why not much progress? And so, how to remain determined? Dhairyat, nishchayat, dhairyat. In that circumstance, with confidence that Krishna is with you. My efforts are weak. A devotee thinks, Avishya Rakshe Krishna. Krishna will surely protect me and give me help for the successful execution of devotional service. This is called confidence. Now, some of you may have read or heard at least the first volume of Meeting the Swami. Chasing Rhinos with the Swami. Here's Prabhupada's determination. Quarantine, lost tapes, broken tape recorder, nothing seemed to rattle Prabhupada. He told the story of how in 1948, after years of labor, his 1,200-page Bhagavad Gita, as it is manuscript, had been stolen from his home in Calcutta. And now he has simply sat down and started over. Similar thing happened in New York City. Why didn't Krishna protect him? I mean, he's his emissary. Why didn't Krishna protect him? But Krishna can do with me whatever, and it is not going to deter my confidence. Here's Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We're nearing an end. Doubting, which is the opposite of nishchaya, brings inauspiciousness from Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, the Vedic statements ascertained, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's language, by the previous Mahajans as relating to qualifications for devotional service are all called Amnaya. That's the title. Amnaya Sutra is the title of one of his books. Qualifications for devotees for devotion are called Amnaya, and it is necessary to learn them. It is impossible to enter into the inconceivable nature without receiving full mercy from the spiritual master. Doubts in essential truths of devotional service disqualifies one from devotional service. We need to know what they are, but also doubting doesn't, it's debilitator. Here's our discussion topic. They're pondering individual over here. Am I important to Krishna? Does he love me? Do I see Krishna's hand in my various challenges and obstacles? Can I become a pure? Is it really work? Do I have the potential to give my heart fully to Krishna without holding back? Confidence and determination. And this is our final session, so we save time because we know you people like discussion groups. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Was going to tell us something important. It's important.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I wanted to know if you could speak about that man encouraged, why, asking the why question, so having a purpose, but we're also encouraged to not expect not expect results in certain ways. So I was hoping you can elaborate on the difference between just not expecting anything and also having a purpose.
You want no purpose? I'm teasing you. I know you're not saying that. Let's think of Srila Prabhupada. That's a nice meditation. He didn't have an expectation, but he certainly had a purpose. He had a directive from his spiritual master and predecessor spiritual masters and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There was the force of what they wanted. And so he wanted what they wanted, and with intelligence gifted to him by Krishna, he moved forward. So, and that was the purpose. There's other ways to describe what that purpose was, but that's one way. And that's not with an expectation of result. Rather, it's with a purpose, a mission, and fulfilling the mission. Whether there's apparent success or not apparent success. Whether the setbacks, so all of these other things, it's the life of the living entity. That's we're going back to the first one. We're enthusiastic for something. So there's enthusiasm where I'm at the center, and there's enthusiasm where the object of love is at the center. Does that answer your question? And when when love is at stake, when love is operating and happening in the life of a pure devotee, just that the very nature of being in contact with the all merciful Krishna is everything. Whether it's this or that or the other. It's not a contradiction. And on the material side it may be, but on the spiritual side it's not. So anything? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
You're clear.
I have maybe a reflection on this enthusiasm, the very first word.
Yeah.
And I think it's we talk about enthusiasm as cultivation. It's the quality. In order to be enthusiastic, you have to cultivate that quality of being enthusiastic. And for example, we need the intelligence to see the limits of intelligence. And I think in this point of view, the other thing that we talk about today, the dhairya and the nishchaya, are actually very important.
Yes.
In that cultivation.
Yes.
Because we need the determination and
Yes.
we need the patience to,
Yes.
in order to continue that cultivation of enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that was the first slide. They're correlated, co-related, that cogs of a wheel. Yes, they move together.
yes. And also, as you mentioned, Garuda Prabhu's personal sharing, I feel like enthusiasm, more than it's a cultivation, it's more like a respond to Krishna's call to us. It's like a natural echo of his very intense calling out to us. And from this point of view, I see it somehow very similar to the Bhakti Lata Bija that you also explained in some early lectures. The Bhakti Lata Bija is the desire to be awakened to bhakti, and I think this enthusiasm is very related to that bija.
Thank you. I just block your ears, Nandimukhi. I'm going to appreciate you for a moment. She said something that's so simple that it's like, duh. But it's not, it's, you know, her intellect is, she analyzes things very, very meticulously, and what moves her in bhakti, imagine what she's doing, and then maintaining enthusiasm. I mean, so there's the principles behind maintaining enthusiasm and keeping going forward in Krishna bhakti. It's there in the teachings, and sometimes we feel it, and sometimes we don't feel it. Sometimes we don't get it. But when the internal working, because all three of these are internal. That's where it started. You don't see the roots of the tree because they're beneath the earth, but the tree grows from the roots of the tree. So if someone has an understanding that's firm and foundational like this, then their spiritual life is guaranteed. It's just. So that's it. Now you can unblock your ears. She has insights that if you listen carefully to her words and her way of expressing herself, I find it very moving. Someone else.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. A couple of things, Guru Maharaj. Maharaj mentioned higher intelligence is in taking shelter of holy name. And then Maharaj also mentioned that Krishna Katha is a feminine and holy name is a masculine. My question is, I do not have as much as enthusiasm to the holy name compared to Krishna Katha. I'm naturally or by cultivation, I have developed more enthusiasm and taste for scriptures and Krishna Katha, not much for holy name yet. I struggle with that. So how can I use that other limb of bhakti, reading scriptures, enchanting holy name? Is there any way to help?
Here's a little saying that I use all the time. That which gives you strength, do it. And borrow strength from where it gives you strength to this place that's not so strong over there. Become strong in areas of strength. Where there is enthusiasm, then you understand this is also important, although I don't have the same affinity, but it's important. And you borrow strength from strength, and you apply it to where there's not so much strength, not as much, or what it could be, should be. You're fine. And just understand where the train is going when you get on board. Someone else. Wow. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I've been thinking on this verse for some time. A thought that crossed my mind when I was reflecting on being determined and being enthusiastic when you're going through challenges in your life. One way I started contemplating was to see, there's one understanding that it's because of our past sinful activities that we have done and its reactions for those past sinful activities. Is it okay to think that sometimes these challenges are actually orchestrated by the Lord to get our attention to our relationship towards Him?
Yeah.
Because, okay.
Yeah. When to just repeat the same thing in different language, the path to Krishna is subtle. And sometimes the subtle is not obvious because it's subtle. And so we respond to the not so subtle and become immersed in the not so subtle, and the subtle just the real deeper opportunity of circumstances of life and our own internal cultivation, etc., passes by us. And it has to do with we're a little dull. We're not tuned in a refined way with what the purpose really is. That's a little like this is a little bit my response to what you said. That the purpose is give it a name, but it's not material. So our affinity is for the material, and we're moving towards the spiritual. But we're looking at what happens to us not with the spiritual eye. And so we, get confused and struggle and stuff, and feel resentful and feel different emotions. You get lost. So it takes, you said it very nicely. It takes understanding circumstances beyond the surface of the circumstances. And, where does that come about? When we really want to be in our relationship with Krishna. Okay. Yeah, you get the last question. I like your questions. He has Tamta Swami questions, this young man.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. When the topic of patience came, and
Which came?
Patience,
Okay.
and the discussion questions were up,
Yeah.
I was wondering how to develop a sense of urgency, which would fuel enthusiasm and etc.
So you sound contradictory, in other words. It sounds contradictory, like go and stop. But it's not stop. It has everything to do with nature's way or Krishna's way of bringing fructification of something that may be there in a seed and it takes some time. And that's patience. And why should I be patient? Because I'm confident this is going to get me to where I want to go. And it may be slow. Like that. That was, by the way, that was a cover of a book. That discussion point. Someone with a foot on the brake pedal and why is God so slow? It's it's not a contradiction, in short. Enthusiasm is the starting point, and patience doesn't mean lose your enthusiasm. It just means that your enthusiasm is not obstructed by circumstance or created by circumstance. It's not created by circumstance. Because if it's created by circumstance, when the circumstance changes, then my enthusiasm disappears. And, we're materially conditioned, so we're enthusiastic for something that is colored or featured within the modes of nature. And then we're enthusiastic. Does that answer your question? They're not contradictory. There is spiritual dimension. To understand these points, then it requires intelligence. To understand these points, they're spiritual. Enthusiasm and patience and firm conviction or firm confidence and being very determined. Okay. We'll see you all tomorrow sometime. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. Any thoughts, any comments, any reflections from what you all heard today or overall in the entire series? Maybe I'll just start with not reflection per se, but just adding to some points here. In the beginning of the class, Maharaj did mention about Ananta Shanti Prabhu. He and his friends. He and his friends practiced Krishna consciousness in Russia, and they were imprisoned. They were in jail. They did not get beads to chant, so they took pieces of the crust of the bread, made it into beads, and they chanted on those crust of the bread. And Russians torture a lot, especially in the prisons. And in spite of that, somehow or the other, they survived. in parallel, in the West, a lot of the devotees like Indradyumna Maharaj and others, they put pressure on the US government to influence the Russian government to release these devotees from the jail. And finally, they were released from the jail. And when they were released, they came to India for the first time. They had never seen India. And they came on a visit to the holy places. They came to Mayapur. They came to Vrindavan. And when they came there, the devotees in India had organized a very, very grand welcome. Like when they were coming, it was almost like a dignitary, like a president come or prime minister coming. Flower petals were thrown on them. They were brought along with kirtan inside the temple. That here are the devotees who had sacrificed their life for the purpose of chanting and for the purpose of spreading the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita underground or undercover in Russia. They did not have printing press. They would write by hand the verses and the translations, and then they would distribute it. Sometimes they would photocopy it. They didn't print it. And that too, photocopying in shops which are owned by the devotees but not others. They were stapled. They were not bound. All sorts of things. Some of them would have only a few pages of the Bhagavad Gita and other books of Prabhupada, and they would read the same thing again and again. And they felt so much relief as a mark of appreciation for the sacrifice that these devotees did. That is Ananta Shanti Prabhu and others. When they came to Mayapur, Vrindavan, they were given very grand welcome, very grand prasadam, everything taken care. And then they said, I think I'm missing the jail. In the jail, it was just me and Krishna. But here, there is so much of adulation. There is so much of importance given to us. I'm afraid that the importance is coming to us, but not to Krishna. So that's the mood of those kind of devotees. Just sort of sharing that one part, number one. Number two, a question to all of you. Not necessary to give the reply now, but you can put it on the WhatsApp group. Can you give references to show that for whatever we receive or whatever happens in this world, it is number one. One is it comes from the results of our past activities. And second, like what Hemangi Mataji was saying, it is a result of Krishna's orchestration. And a sub-bullet of this Krishna's orchestration is that it comes because of the internal potency or the internal energy of the Supreme Lord. Can you give these two verses? Can you look into whatever books you have and check it and substantiate it? And this will help us in future to know that either one of these two things are happening or both of these things, these factors are occurring in our lives. So that's the second part. And third one is we saw Maharaj basic appreciating his disciple Nandimukhi Mataji. She's a Chinese by birth. She's right now in the US. She finished her PhD there and she's working there. He was saying she's so she analyzes very meticulous. She has insights that he likes very much. Right? One of the things that is a question to you, me, and all of us here is when somebody praises another, what happens inside you or inside me? Is it that we feel, oh, let me also become like that and let me also receive a praise? Or is it anything else? That it's so nice that he or she has that quality. It's very good. Let me hear more from them. Where are we? So 2 questions and 1 sharing from my side. But I think there's much more to discuss about how to go deeper with the holy name. I thought devotees may need some time to reflect, and so I spoke first. May I request the devotees. your thoughts on the lecture today and the entire past few days for this first part of the Festival of Holy Day. Yeah, is it dear Lalit Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
Yes, Prabhu. Regarding the appreciating things, Prabhu, I may not have the right. I mean, I may not be instead of giving you giving the answer to your question. There is something different which I would like to share. I had this. I was holding it for quite some time regarding appreciating others. So in the corporate world, we see there are a lot of things, there are a lot of politics, competitiveness, everything. Although people talk to each other very nicely, within their heart there is a very deep competition nature is there. The envy is there, and so when we are at home or with devotees or friends, it's very easy to appreciate someone's for their own something they have done. But on the contrast, when you go to the office and if my peer he has done something really great, I mean, like people like we find very tough to appreciate that person because if I appreciate him, and when you appreciate openly. So, or we should appreciate openly. So if I appreciate that person openly, then everybody will, the attention will go to him and not to me. So my manager will say, okay, actually, yes, he is appreciating me. He has done good work. Fine. So it means that tomorrow when it comes about the promotion, that person will be highlighted or that person will get advantage because I appreciated him at one point in time. So I will not appreciate him. So the envy is become so strong that although there is something is very genuine work, I will not appreciate him. And that's where the problem is that as a practicing devotee, if that is the thought it comes to me, it means that my shelter is actually truly not in Krishna. Because if it shelter is truly in Krishna, then I must those devotional qualities that generally devotee has. It should come out naturally to appreciate someone for his or her own work, but I'm not doing it because there is envy or the shelter is not in Krishna. So then it's like some learning for me that, okay, let me reposition myself properly, let me fix my shelter back to Krishna. And the person who's done really genuine task, let me appreciate him or her. And let's see what Krishna has decided, what our promotion whosoever has to get, he will be getting. But let me fix my shelter and Krishna. So that was something related to appreciation plus envy plus shelter on Krishna. Something I was having in my mind, Prabhu. When you asked this question, I thought I'll share. But it's not directly anything related to your question, Prabhu. Thank you.
No, it's helping. Thank you. Thank you. So you just wanted to share that in spite of this, I'm just trying to paraphrase. Are you trying to say that although in some places we may lose out in trying to give credit where it is due, yet uh, yet to follow the principles of devotional service, one has to give credit where it is due. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. If there is something, a person deserves something, credit or
Mm,
appreciations,
mm,
and if it is so, but the envy should not be blocking that. I should
mm.
genuinely go and appreciate the person.
Yeah,
That's what.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you for bringing it up. I'm just reminded of a very nice phrase, or of not a phrase, a shloka by Madhavendra Puri, which Srila Prabhupada quotes quite often. Mugdam mam nigadantu niti nipuna brantum muhur vaidika mandam bandhava sanchaya jadadiyam mukta dara sodara unmattham dhanino viveka chutra kamam mahadhambikam. Muktum nakshamate managapi mano govinda padaspraham. Very similar to what you said. Madhavendra Puri is saying, different people in this world will consider me differently when I practice devotional service. And he says, the wealthy people, Dhanino, will consider me as unmattam, mad. And the persons who are learned in philosophy may say that I'm proud. Somebody may say that you're foolish. All of that. But Madhavendra Puri says, Moktum nakshamate mana gapimano govinda padaspraham. And I myself am unable to follow the devotional service properly, but I'm determined to serve Govinda. So just to amplify the point you're saying, that determination that I may lose out in this world, but I will try to I'll try to live in this world the way Krishna wants. That attracts Krishna's mercy and pleases Krishna. Thank you for bringing it up.
Thank you so much. It was so nice of you. Thank you.
Ahila Mani, you want to say something? Your microphone is unmuted. You'd like to share something? It went to mute. Guru
Hare
Prabhu?
Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. I think Maharaj was mentioning circumstances, so we will stay for longer. So that's where I feel
Can you be a bit louder? Can you come closer to the microphone? Can you be a bit louder?
Is it better, Prabhu?
Yes, it is. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, enthusiasm depending upon the situations or circumstances. So it will not stay for longer. That was whenever we go for yatra or when we are there with devotees, like that time, feel like more enthusiastic and the practice or sadhana, whatever we do, like it will be very effective. But Maharaj clearly mentioned that like circumstances will change over a period of time. So when we come to other circumstances, the same enthusiasm we cannot carry it. So that point, like he mentioned very clearly.
Yes, yes. And I have seen both of the things happening. Sometimes people like the company of others so that, oh yeah, I too can do it when I'm there with you. And sometimes it's the exact opposite also that happens, which is if you are doing it, the inbuilt competitive spirit in us may be so high that if you are doing it, my God, I can't stand it. I feel like I'm nothing. I'm useless. I can only practice something when you are not there. So we have to learn to come out of such things too.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you.
Any other point? It's 7-8. In Chandan Prabhu, anything would you like to say?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dharmat Pranam.
Pranam Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
No, Prabhu. I will write in the group. I joined a little bit late, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay. Kumarika Mataji, you wanted, I think you try to unmute, please.
Yes, Prabhu, I wanted to ask a question. Maharaj said that if your enthusiasm is based on circumstances, if it's circumstantial, then when that circumstance change, then the enthusiasm will go away. So what should it be based on?
Nice. Yes. Thank you. Dear devotees, anybody would like to volunteer to answer this question? Sarika Mataji, we haven't heard from you. What would you say for this question? Okay. Maybe she's just okay, not able to hear us. Pranavanda Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Actually, I may not be able to answer, but theoretically I may be able to answer, but not practically. Uh, Whatever we are doing, the enthusiasm should come from a person. Is it pleasing to my Guru Maharaj? Whether it is pleasing to my Guru Maharaj or not, or whether it is pleasing to Krishna or not, that should come in our motivational factor. That drives us towards this enthusiasm also. That's what I think. Whatever we are doing, whether it pleases Krishna or my Guru or my mentor, should come into our mind.
So you are
That's what I
echoing what Nandimukhi Mataji said, enthusiasm as a response to Krishna's call. And by extension, it means enthusiasm is a response to Krishna's call, Krishna's dear devotees, like that, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else would want to add anything more?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Similar to what Prabhu said, if we take the example first with Srila Prabhupada, he got instruction when he was 26-year old, and by the time he executed successfully from the material perspective, that it was almost 69, so 47 years of gap, that enthusiasm was there. And what the enthusiasm was, it was not a circumstantial or situational basis. If that was the case, he started 1953 League of Devotee, it would have been from the material point of view, it was a failure and it would have been a setback for Prabhupada. But his enthusiasm was that this is the instruction that I received from my spiritual master, and my life is this instruction is my life and soul. So that keep that enthusiasm for him the rest of his life. And then taking another example of His Holiness Rampasad Maharaj, his enthusiasm even at the age of 77, 75 plus, what keeps him doing that? And once it was asked him, what keeps him, he said, love for Srila Prabhupada. So we can see that this both the example, this enthusiasm is not on the circumstantial, but something that dedicated life for some personality who had actually made dedicated their life for a person who has made very influential changes in one's life. And it is Krishna or Krishna's devotee, spiritual master. And these two examples shows that this enthusiasm has to be in, and Maharaj would always say that he would actually just extending this question that if our happiness, when I was summarizing Maharaj 2.3.25, 2.3, 2.4, 1 and 2, Maharaj was mentioning very clearly that if our happiness is based on asat thing, which keeps changing, that means our happiness and distress, I mean, the happiness will keep changing because it depends upon the asat, and asat will keep change. But if we keep our happiness on sat, and the sat means Krishna, Krishna means Krishna's devotees, so then definitely it would not be circumstantial or situational basis. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Yugalakisha Prabhu, for explaining. I have one thought, but I think Kumarika Mataji may also have it. Mataji, when you ask the question, you definitely would have some understanding too. Anything that you would like to add on top of what Pranavanda Prabhu and Yugalakisha Prabhu spoke?
I thought that enthusiasm must be based on knowing about Krishna properly, that is proper hearing and proper conception, and then having a purpose. If the purpose is well defined, then maybe enthusiasm will not change despite the challenges, whatever comes.
So what you are saying is right. That's also a component that until we know something, like your case is, I can relate more to a young child studying for, say, a competitive exam. They don't know what, like say somebody studies for becoming a doctor. The child doesn't know what it means to study MBBS for that matter. But the child knows something about doctor, what they do, etc. And so the child thinks, there's a purpose, like what you're saying, there's a purpose, there's the right knowledge that somebody has said doctors do, they treat patients, they save people from death or injuries, and they are motivated by the fact that I can be of help to people. So you are saying more from the sense of knowing the purpose and knowing the truths. That fuels enthusiasm. And Pranwala Prabhu and Yugala Kishore Prabhu spoke about the need or the innate desire to please Krishna and Krishna's devotees. That is, it's a response to their call, as Nandi Mukhi Mataji was saying. One additional thing, if you'd like to consider, Mataji, is that as a person engages with purpose, the mirror of the consciousness gets cleansed. And when the mirror, to the extent that the mirror of consciousness gets cleansed, to that extent, progressively, first steps that come in a person's life is Krishna is Satya Sankalpa. That is, whatever he thinks, whatever he desires happens. It becomes the truth, Satya, his Sankalpa. He just wishes for something and it happens. And therefore, in the beginning stages, when the mirror of consciousness gets cleansed gradually, one's enthusiasm is that I want to be a servant of Krishna. So whatever is his wish, I want to be an instrument for that wish to happen. That also creates enthusiasm in the individual. And as the person progresses more and more, one is able to touch or perceive the ever youthfulness of Krishna or the Supreme Lord. He's ever youthful. He's ever fresh. And in that freshness, when there is that youth is there, enthusiasm comes naturally. And so that enthusiasm is fueled by the fact that the jiva, soul, realizes that he is eternally a servant. So on one hand, the person realizes that my nature is to serve. And the second, on the other hand, he also sees that, he or she sees that there is so much of freshness in things related to Krishna. And his whole world is related to Krishna in somehow or the other. And this combination of the right service mood and the ever youthfulness of the Supreme Lord, this together fuels the enthusiasm for very advanced devotees. That's just what I wanted to add, Mataji. That's it.
Prabhu and Pranavallabha Prabhu and Yugal Kishore Prabhu. Your perspective was also very nice.
Hare Krishna Prabhu and Mataji. Just one example what I have experienced. One of my classmates, engineering classmates, he worked into very higher role in some of MNCs, and then he somehow he passed almost 10 years, 10, 12 years. And now he's doing so much of social services, social service or society for the services for the society. And his enthusiasm, he's like a sky limit. I see that every day, morning till evening, and no matter what happens, whatever the obstacle that he has, that he never gets waved off or get set back for him, and he continues that. So I was amazed to see that, astonished to see that just one social cause, which is above our I, me, mine. Of course, it is extended me, but to our immediate I and me and mine, he's working on that itself gives so much of enthusiasm that he resigned from his job. And last a decade, he has been working without wavering from that. And I was thinking that imagine if I had such a love for Krishna or Krishna's devotees, that enthusiasm will be multifold. There will be no limit for that. And we can imagine that what could be the enthusiasm of Srila Prabhupada, and we can imagine what is the level of enthusiasm of His Holiness Rinpoche Maharaj. If we just extrapolate from a material cause to the spiritual cause, it would be a multifold. Thank you, Prabhuji Maharaj.
Thank you for expanding further. One last thing, either Hema Sundari Mataji or Harishan Prabhu, you would like to add anything?
Prabhu, I'll post, Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you. We'll end here, 7:20. We'll continue tomorrow. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada Swami Maharaj ki